Hey everyone, it's Joy here, and I am super excited to be doing another video for Scrapbook.com, and I am going to be creating a pumpkin-shaped shaker easel card. Some of the products that I am using are the Sweet Boo patterned paper. This is the 6x8, and there is so much fun stuff in here. So you get Halloween and fall in this paper pad, which is totally perfect for the card that I made today. I'm also going to be using the Spice Smooth cardstock, the Autumn Leaves dies, the Nested Pumpkins die, and the Cozy Autumn Rub-On Transfers. So now I am starting with a full sheet of 110-pound Neenah cardstock, and I am scoring that at the 5.5 mark. We are going to be creating our shaped base, and so I needed to start with this large piece of cardstock because we're going to be using the largest Nested Pumpkins die. So now I have the folded edge at the top of my cardstock there. Let me just grab this largest pumpkin. I'm also going to be using the second largest pumpkin, and I'll show you that here in just a little bit. And I'm going to place the top of the pumpkin hanging off the top of that folded edge. So again, this is going to be our base to our card, and we want it to be shaped. So those little points there, I'm going to have above my score line at the top. And I'm going to show you that up close, and I'm going to run that through my die cut machine. And now we have our fun pumpkin card base. It is so, so cute. Then I want to adhere a colored piece of paper on the back of this because you're going to see part of this when we open up the easel card. So I want to adhere that now. I'm going to use some tape runner and liquid glue because I really want this to hold in place because we're going to need to score this. So creating an easel card like this is so super easy, but then we're going to add a shaker to it, which is really, really cute. So I'm going to add my adhesive and adhere that down. I also wanted to mention at the end of this video, I'm going to show you a bonus card that I already made, but it's in Halloween instead of fall. So you definitely want to hang around and see what that one looks like. I'm going to use my scoring tool again, and you're going to want to just score it in half. This just so happens to be about 2 1/8 inch of where I'm going to score it. So that's pretty much half. I want to make sure that my pumpkin is straight, and then I'm just going to use my scoring tool and get a nice good score. And then I'm going to fold that in half because this is the part that's going to fold back and stand up on your easel card. So now that I have that folded, that is our base piece. And so that's how it'll open. Super, super cute. Let's start working on our shaker card. I have that large pumpkin, the next size down pumpkin. I'm going to tape this in place. This paper here is from the Sweet Boo paper pad. I love this super cute gingham check style. I think it's so pretty. So we're going to do this really kind of soft fall color. You can use that insert piece for something else, but I need this frame piece because that's going to be the front of our shaker card. And then I die cut the large, using the large pumpkin, that background piece also from the Sweet Boo paper. I'm taking a little bit of tea dye and my sponge dauber and just doing a light ink blending to my frame that's going to go in front of our shaker. You can also see on the right there, I've already die cut all of my pieces that I'm going to be needing for this card, and I just have that in my stack and sort tray, which is, I like the small ones. I do use the large ones too, but I tend to use the small ones a lot. These leaves are from the Autumn Leaves die set, die cut from the Sweet Boo paper. And again, just a little bit of ink blending. I like to do that even on colored cardstock. It just adds a little something extra to your images, which I think are super darling. And then I have some other leaves. I'm going to use a bit of vintage photo. Again, this is from the Sweet Boo patterned paper, because you get some solid colors and some patterned paper, which I really love that. You have some really good options. Just doing a tiny bit of ink blending. I don't want to cover up that beautiful cardstock, or, you know, that beautiful paper. Then we have these bigger leaves, and Oh, sorry, excuse me. First, we're going to do the stems. I do have 2 stems and I will show you why. One is going to go on the shaker and the other one is going to go on the card base itself. I felt like if I left that off of the card base, it would look kind of funny, so I did not want to do that. Let me just clean off my silicone mat really quick because I do want to ink blend those green leaves. Those are die cut from the Spice paper pad and I used the 6x8 paper pad for this. And I'm going to use a little bit of Rustic Wilderness. Again, just a tiny bit around the edges. I think I do end up using all of these leaves. I do tend to die cut extra. I would rather have more than not enough when it comes time to putting my card together. And then these darling acorns. So I'm using gathered twigs to die cut those. Or excuse me, to ink blend, not die cut. But how cute are they? So we're going to use both of these on our shaker card today, and a little bit of ground espresso for the top parts of our acorns. And then let's glue those together really quick. I'm going to use some Artis glue and my reverse tweezers to put these together. And we just pop them in place right there at the top. I love these. I think they are so cute. And if you wanted to, you could always cut these apart if you want to put them in different areas on your card. If you didn't want to have both of them stuck together, you could just cut them apart and put them together that way. Okay, so on the back of my frame, I like to add a little bit of tape runner and then liquid glue all the way around. Then I have my piece of acetate that I'm going to adhere to the back of that. And the reason why I add my tape runner is because your liquid glue wants to slide a lot. The tape runner is going to hold it in place until your liquid glue dries. And I think I have a little bit of excess I'm going to trim off the side, but this now is going to be the front of our shaker. Now I want to add a sentiment to this, so that is where the super cute Cozy Autumn rub-on transfers come into play. We're going to use the Sweater Weather sentiment. I love that sentiment. I think it's so cute. The color is perfect, and putting rub-ons on acetate or vellum is so pretty. So I'm going to put that right in the center, and then I'm going to use the little plastic end on my Pick Pro tool to rub these on. But in the rub-on transfers, there is like a little popsicle stick that you could always use. And I'm using the grid on my mat just to kind of help me line this up and hopefully get it down straight. So I'm going to give that a little press, and then I'm going to use that plastic end and then just burnish this until everything is down, and then we can slowly take off that release paper. I love this look. I think this is so much fun to have a rub-on sentiment on your acetate and especially on the shaker card. This is a nice size sentiment as well. It takes up a good amount of space. On the Halloween card that I made, I used smaller sentiments with rub-ons, and I will show you that, like I mentioned, at the end of the video. I'm almost done. We're getting this nice and burnished. And then when I grab that the plastic that the rub-on is on, I'm going to slowly pull this back. I want to take my time. That way, if I didn't get something burnished down completely, then I can just rub it again, and then I can just slowly take this off. And once that's done, we have our fantastic sentiment. How cute is that? Okay, I am using 3mm foam adhesive strips to put on here. Now, I feel like you probably could go 4mm. So if you were going to do that, take 2 of the 2mm foam adhesive strips and adhere those together. And when you remove the release paper, you can bend and curve this around all the strips around any shape that you need. I kind of feel like I maybe should have done a little bit thicker strip. This totally worked out fine, but I think err on the side of taller, not smaller, when you're doing a shaker card. I'm going to take my anti-static powder tool and rub on the inside, not the top of the adhesive, but on the inside I don't want all of my little things to stick, all of my shaker bits to stick to the sides of my sticky strips. So I'm going to put in 3 of those leaves and then a little bit of the unicorn shimmer flakes. That's going to be my shaker bits. So it's not a ton, it's not a crazy amount, but it works. And then I do like to add a few dots of liquid glue just to give a little extra hold, but that's just me. And then I'm going to place the background pumpkin on there, and I'm going to press down really, really good. Now, some of my leaves wanted to stick together. That's why I think if you go a little bit taller, they won't stick together, but then they kind of move around and you've got those fun leaves in there and a little bit of that shimmer from the unicorn shimmer flakes. So cute. All right, let's build our pumpkin, and then we still have to attach this to our base. So we have our pumpkin stem, and then we're going to create 2 little clusters of leaves and the acorns just to give this some fun embellishment on this pumpkin. Although this pumpkin is really super cute how it is. I've got 3 of those green leaves, which I'm glad to put in some green because it breaks up the oranges and pinks. Although I think that is so darling for a fall color combination. These soft oranges and soft pinks I think is so pretty. And then just using my reverse tweezers and some liquid glue to get these adhered down. And you're just building upon building, and you're tucking leaves under and putting leaves on top and really just kind of putting together this nice little floral spread on your pumpkin. I do adjust those green leaves just a little bit at the top where they cover up that stem a little bit more. But look at how this is coming together. And then you have this little bit of a darker orange here, which I think is so pretty. But I'm going to tuck that stem under just a little bit, and then it's going to cover up all of those other leaves where they're coming together and intersecting. I want to cover that up, so this leaf is perfect for that. This leaf has 2 sizes, this larger size, and then I'm going to use this smaller size, and again, that's from the Autumn Leaves die set. And then we're going to tuck in the cute little acorns. Oh my gosh, I think they're so cute. They totally finish off this card for me. I think they are darling. And then on the bottom left, I'm going to throw together a couple leaves and the other acorn. I'm going to tuck those in together. And I don't want them to hang down on the bottom because I don't want it to interrupt how this is going to stand up. Okay, let's open up our base, and we're going to only add adhesive at the bottom. I'm going to do tape runner and liquid glue again. I don't want anything going anywhere because this is an interactive card. You're going to be moving it a lot. The shaker's kind of heavy, so extra glue is always a good thing. Then I'm going to line this pumpkin up. I'm lining it up at the bottom. I feel like I'm going to get the best, lining it up the best way to me works by looking at the bottom. And then I'm going to flip this over and really press that down. So again, the tape runner is going to hold it in place while the liquid glue has time to dry. How cute. Okay, so now we have the other stem. I'm going to lay it on top of the first stem, add a little bit of liquid glue at the bottom on the back of the stem. Then I can press the back of the card down once that's lined up nicely. I'm going to press the back of that card down and use my reverse tweezers to hold that in place just for maybe 30 seconds or so till that liquid glue dries. Now on a piece of scratch paper from the Sweet Boo paper pad, I am stamping the sentiment. It says Pumpkin Kisses and Harvest Wishes with black ink. This is from Honeybee Stamps Mini Messages Fall Sentiments. And then I'm going to use the Mini Messages banners to die cut this out. This sentiment is important because number 1, we need another sentiment, but number 2, this is what's going to help hold open our pumpkin. I'm using 3mm foam adhesive. It definitely needs to be on the taller side because the shaker itself is kind of thick. And I'm going to place this inside of the bottom of the card base. So I kind of decided where I wanted the easel part to open, how far back. And look at that, you're just going to tuck your sentiment right there. So you're going to have your little elements shake around. Like I mentioned, my 2 little leaves got stuck there at the bottom, but I can get them loose once I shake them hard. But then you have your unicorn shimmer flakes inside there. It's shiny. And look at how cute this pumpkin is. And then you just pop this open and it stands up. And then I'm going to show you that you're going to see the stem and the other color of the pumpkin here in the back, which is why it was important to add that. But look at how cute this is. I love everything about this card, and it's a fun shaped card. So there is the back. So, so cute. Okay, now I'm going to show you the Halloween version. I use the same paper pad, the same dies, except for I did add the bats dies and the and Reputation shimmer flakes, the Spooky Critters rub-ons, and the Halloween bats dies. They're inside and outside on that pumpkin. And instead of a sentiment on the inside, I just glued 3 of those bats together, die cut from mixed media black cardstock, and used that as my little opening piece. So now you can see that there's 2 different ways using a lot of the similar products, especially that Sweet Boo paper pad. So cute. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this video. I hope you feel inspired, and I hope you guys have a really amazing day. Bye.
Thanks for watching.
For the best experience, watch and shop our videos at Scrapbook.com/livestream.
Everything's in one place, the videos, products, and fun.
Sign up for our VIP text to get an alert so you can join us so you'll never miss a live.
Scrapbook.com/livestream, the best way to watch.